Hello friends, Ted from Nerd Immersion here, and I wanted to talk to you today about the Lost Codex of Mirkryn, I think is how you say it. Anyway, Grimhaven. So that's what we're going to be talking about here. Now let's go ahead and just dive right in. There's a ton of options for you here, and I wanted to just go through and list everything. First up, two things. One, thank you to the Grimhaven team and Sundered Skies Press for sponsoring this video. And hey, if you like what I do here, whether it be top 10s, reviews, by the way, I am going to be doing a video on the most recent survey released by the D&D team, please consider subscribing to the channel. You can see the numbers live counted right there, and hey, one little click from you takes less than 5 seconds. Really goes a long way to help me out. So let's dive in right here. So you can say welcome to Grimhaven right on the front. It's already it only came out on Sunday, so it's only been out for about 3 days. Already doubled its funding goal, which is always a good sign, and 26 days left to hit a ton of stretch goals. So what is Grimhaven here, or the Lost Codex of Mirkryn? Well, it's a Gothic-inspired setting. We do see a lot of, I've seen a lot of love being outpoured for Gothic-y, darker-themed stuff for 5e, which is very interesting to see the direct contrast with Wizards of the Coast going like very bubbly, fae-y, you know, fairy kind of magic, and like all of the fans and creators out there are like, we want grimdark. I guess people weren't really pleased with Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. I don't know. But anyway, there is a ton of content here in this book. So let's go ahead and see what's inside. First of all, take a look at this art, right? Let's zoom this in a little bit. Look at that. That is like a weird horror version of Abe Sapien from Hellboy. I'm digging it. So, it says there's a bunch of different things being corrupted by Grimhaven. It says Lord Mordeth's aquatic vampirism is fully on display here. So, water vampires. Awesome. And there's a ton of new player options. And some of the subclasses look really, really interesting. So we have the Path of the Fractured Charger Barbarian. So this is draw from your numerous mind-breaking experiments that allow your body to hold magical energy, capturing elemental attacks and throwing them back at your opponent. So sort of magic elemental barbarian. Again, we're doing grimdark or darker gothic stuff. So a College of Eulogy Bard just makes sense. Calls souls to the realm of the dead, healing allies and protecting them against fear of undeath. The Madness Domain Cleric, that one's got me pretty interested. And covering the corrupting knowledge of the Eldritch Pantheon. I think we all know that this probably means larger Lovecraftian style. That's what I think of when I think of an Eldritch Pantheon, personally. But spreading a maddening hex through the battlefield. Circle of the Grove Druid. Offer a defensive shelter to you and your allies by calling up your own grove. A small patch of magical plant life that expands as you level up. See, that's interesting because I always liked the grove-related mechanics. Again, I wax poetic about 3.5 and stuff, but in one of the old 3rd edition books, not 3.5, there was a whole like supplement about Druid groves and like the cool things you could do with them. So it's cool to see that come back. The Pact Forger Fighter. Learn the ancient arts of pact magic. Oh, that's interesting. So this sounds like similar to how the Eldritch Knight is sort of like a wizard-style fighter. This is a Pact Forger, so I'm assuming this is like that, but instead of wizardly magic, it's warlock magic. Very interesting. Way of Destructive Flow Monk. Harness the flow of your environment as you create and destroy terrain, building defensive barricades before breaking them into fragments. Destructible environments as part of your class. It's pretty unique. Oath of the Alteration Paladin. Bound by an oath to pursue constant change, not only in yourself but the environment around you, wield the ever-changing force of alteration to grant your allies buffs and shift throughout the battle while altering your weapons and armor. Interesting. So sort of like a chaos-y kind of a feel. Body Snatcher Conclave Ranger. Don the mask of the Body Snatcher Conclave to imitate your target. Also sort of like a mimic, doppelganger style. Smuggler Rogue. Maneuver the battlefield with stealth and strategy as you plan out safest route for contraband. Vampiric Bloodline Sorcerer. Again, another one that people have asked. I know we do have... Oh no, we don't really have an undead blood sorcerer. We have 2 warlocks. So Vampire Bloodline Sorcerer makes sense. Bound by blood and driven by unending hunger, take on the classic tropes of the Gothic vampire or customize your sorcerer with alternative class features. That's cool, relating to the Vampiric Lords of Grimhaven. We know there was obviously the aquatic one we talked about. And that takes a lot of forward thinking to decide, hey, we're going to make a vampire bloodline. So that's a whole thing, but like you can play as the traditional Gothic Dracula, what everybody expects, or we can also give you options to swap stuff out to fit more into the theme here. I should also say, as I'm talking about all this, all of these subclasses can be campaign agnostic. Obviously, a lot of them have ties to the Grimhaven world we're talking about, but that's not necessarily, you don't need to do that. You could just be using the player options in any game, which again is also something when stuff gets often so baked into a setting, it's sometimes you find it hard to place it elsewhere, which was why I was so shocked to see what they did with the Artificer to make it campaign agnostic. Dreamweaver Warlock walk the thin line between the waking world and the realm of dreams, and the Texermancy Wizard harness the art of creating life by studying in the recently created school of Texermancy, animating spells into customizable living creatures. So I wonder if that's sort of like a Frankenstein style situation. There's a little bit on Texermancy, so we're going to scroll down and take a look. So it says, the great city of Grimhaven holds many mysteries and many more beauties. So it's a big city, right? We talked about that. 9 districts, each with its own unique atmosphere and culture. It also has a guide to the catacombs and sewers beneath, and inhabited by colonies of sewer dwarves and mutated races of humanoids called the Cresluris. So I wonder if sewer dwarves are ones that, like, maybe they're only monsters, or maybe we have stat blocks for those. So, okay. This something an outcry. So many people are crying for new weapons in 5e. I think we all want an arms and equipment guide that just gives us more armor, equipment, things like that. Weaponry. A variety of new, non-magical weapons, including knuckle dusters, bladed tonfas, combat gauntlets, and more. In addition to this, it also offers an array of magical items, such as the Shattershot Bow, which allows you to split arrows into a volley, which is one of my favorite old 3.5 enchantments. There was the Splitting Bow, which your arrows would split, which is pretty cool. The Vials of Arcane, consumable potions that allow spellcasters to get spell slots back, but at a risk, which is a smart call because direct mana potions don't really translate well in 5e, where I can just drink this and get potion or spell slots back, but having a trade-off, whether it be Wild Magic Surge or something similar, is a good idea. And the Hand of Uglamok, an infamous artifact that was utilized in the creation of Grimhaven. I'm getting Hand of Vecna vibes from that. All right, new forms of magic. We already touched on Texermancy, so let's learn about it. So it includes all the standard schools, but this new one called Texermancy, the magic of creating living magical creatures from raw energy and incantations, a group ritual system to cast powerful spells. Incantations are a fun, roleplay-oriented spellcasting system that provides the party with impactful, large-area spells at the cost of time and expenses, making them great side missions in between quests or points of character motivation. So I would probably equate this to probably anything you've seen in, I would say, any Monster of the Week style shows, right? Like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer or Supernatural. The big magic, right? The big spells where everybody needs to band together and you get a bunch of casters and they cast some over world-shaping ritual or big move magically. That's really cool because I don't think I've seen anybody do anything like that in 5e. And as it says, it's not really something that you're going to do in combat because it's a time and expensive thing to do. But if you're planning some great siege of some kind, starting with an incantation situation or for some reason to do it in between. And again, this concept, so I'm wondering if Texermancy is more like Frankenstein monster or crafting living spells like we see in I think Eberron has them where it's a living lightning bolt, it's the spell made animate. Either way, very cool stuff. And then obviously if it's a grim, dark, spooky thing, Gothic horror, we're going to have monsters. It's just a no-brainer. This is from Dream Realm creatures that stalk their prey from the rooftops to fully customizable companions made from rift energy at the Grains Institute. Grimhaven includes a wide variety of interesting monsters for DMs to use in their games. And then let's take a look at the pledge tiers, right? Because if you want to pick this up, what's it going to cost you? So it looks like we are going to get for the digital edition, that is, I'm pretty sure that's euros, right? Or is that pounds? It might be pounds. So it's about $17 US. I think that's pounds, yeah. So it'll get you the PDF copy, the digital edition here, PDF copy of the Codex. which is sort of like the player guide. Frequent Grimhaven playtest materials released through the Kickstarter's lifespan. All unlocked stretch goals and your name thank you in the book. There is the Deluxe Digital Edition, which will include the Lost Codex of Mirkryn Grimhaven Deluxe Edition in PDF form. All of the stuff that we just discussed as well. So I don't know what the difference is between the Deluxe Digital. It says the Lost Codex of Mirkryn Grimhaven, and then it says Deluxe, okay? Deluxe, oh, here's the Deluxe Digital Edition. The Deluxe cover to experience the beautiful place, as well as behind-the-scene chapter on how it was designed. Very cool. So physical edition, which is £25, which comes out to be... There's some early bird ones too, so you might want to jump in on that, which comes out to be about $35. It's going to get you both the PDF and the physical copy, and then all the other stuff we just discussed. There's the Deluxe Physical Edition, which is going to get you the higher, the Deluxe Limited Edition cover, again, all of that. There's the City Artisan, which is £200, which there is 4 of these left, which are about $275. Everything included in the Deluxe Digital one, or Deluxe Physical copy, digital copy, but you get to make your own NPC, creature, or location included in the book with a high-quality piece of art, a one-to-one call with the creator on Discord to design your NPC, creature, or location. So, folks, I see these all the time in Kickstarters, and these are usually something to jump on if for nothing other than you are getting custom art. So that's how I often think about this. How much would you pay an artist to get a high quality piece of art? And you saw how great the art was so far. How much would you pay an artist to get a custom piece of art made for your character? Not only are you going to be getting that, but you're also going to be getting a PDF, a digital copy, and you help create something that's now permanently in print. So think about that when you go to back these when they have an art tier, because if you can create something, you can get custom art, whether it's a monster, NPC, or whatever. Could be your character. You come up with an NPC concept, but you design the NPC to look like one of your RPG characters, and you kind of get both. All right, and then we talked about the different editions, and then let's talk about what the additional rewards and stuff are. So this is a big one. Fortnightly Updates. So that's something is tricky with Kickstarter, right? Because technically you pledge, and you don't necessarily know how often or frequent you're going to get updates from the folks involved. They're committing to every 2 weeks giving you an update on it. So it says, pledgers will receive a new playtest material for the Lost Codex of Mirkryn Grimhaven every 2 weeks. Each update will include 2 to 4 pieces of original content, starting with the playtest 1, Races Above and Below. The playtest material will be provided in PDF, will be accessible via both Kickstarter post as well as a password-locked version on the website. Your name goes on the website as a backer, and then Pledgers of the City Artisan Stretch Goal. Pledgers of the City Artisan Stretch Goal can create a character, monster, location, or faction for Grimhaven, which will be included in the book. And then here's some stretch goals. So we already are funded. Additional art, I believe, was already hit. Then there's, let's see, funded, additional art, expanded Lords, and additional 2 to 4 pages of information will be added to the Lords of Grimhaven. Additional art for the book again. We have the Dream Realm chapter. The book receives a new chapter on exploring the Dream Realms, including the introduction of 3 new factions that hold power over the domain: the House of Hope, House of Fear, and House of the Forgotten. Additionally, several new monsters and creature templates will be added to the book. We've already talked about how much I love templates before, along with rules of how portals work to the Dream Realm. Players will also be able to send in descriptions of Dream Realm creatures for a chance to get their monster in the book. 4,000 is the Mercran City Guide, an additional chapter describing the major cities of Mercran and the area surrounding Grimhaven. Additional regions will be added: the Bluebone Mantle, Kalmora, Far Emoy, I guess, and the Ring of Margus. And I think we're getting now into the stuff where the goals are currently locked. Additional art, and then a bonus adventure. A level 3 to 8 quest will be included in the book, covering a subject voted by the backers. Options are an explorative visit to the Realm of Dreams, learning about the 3 ruling houses, a horror-based adventure through the waterway and streets of Grimhaven, searching for a way to defeat one of Grimhaven's lords, that's the one that I would vote for, and an adventure based on uncovering an ancient religious artifact from the catacombs. 5,500 will get us some token options here, free digital tokens and spell cards for every backer. Tokens of every creature in both the base product and the unlocked stretch goals, maps of every location, and spell cards for any of the new spells and the incantations. The super goal is book 2. It says Sundersky's Press will prepare for the next book once Grimhaven is released. Backers vote for the subject of the book, being either a guide to one of Grimhaven or Mercran's other cities or a full campaign module. So there will be an adventure if the stretch goals are reached, just like a short level 3 to 8. But eventually this could lead to, a second book, which will be a full campaign. And there's also backer count stretch goals, which is something you'll love to see, which is just, again, extra stuff for different amounts of backers. So at 100 backers, 2 new subclasses are going to be added. Artistry Domain Cleric and Animated Incorporated Sorcerer. And then, let's see, we get 150 backers, 10 new backgrounds. 200 is faction ranking systems. 250 is a whole new variant class of the monk called the Ruffian. Very cool. Dirty fighting and intimidation tactics. 250 is 2 new factions, 2 more subclasses at 300 backers. Calling of Dreams Visionary and Path of the Slumbering Beast Barbarian. And then we have 3 new races at 400 backers, and then a mystery stretch goal if 500 has been met, and then a little bit about, all of the publishing and printing, shipping, and the estimated release for this is in March of next year. So as you can see, we have to convert this back. Let's go back. So it is converted so it's 3,000 pounds currently. So as far as stretch goals go, we have unlocked additional art. So we're getting up to the Dream Realm chapter to do that unlock. But I'm hoping to get the city guide. I would like to see that, and then the adventure would be big. So anyway, folks, you can see the link at the top of the description as well as the pinned comment on here on YouTube to go ahead and jump on over to back for yourself the Lost Codex of Mirkryn, Grimhaven. It looks really awesome. The folks behind it are an excellent team, and it's nice to see. You always like seeing new folks come out and provide awesome content for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. And everything, this is their first Kickstarter campaign, which you can tell there's a serious love for Dungeons & Dragons and a bunch of content here, plans for the future, great stretch goals, not necessarily just monetary stretch goals, but also backer-based, so folks can only back at the low digital level and just get it as the number of backers grow, as do the rewards and things you can unlock. There's already 139 backers. We know 150 backers unlocks another goal. And like I said, I always like to see that because that shows, hey, if anybody backs, you could even back at, if you wanted to back at just like $1, or I guess $10 is the lowest amount, which is just back it because you believe in it. So if you back at the lowest amount, you still count as a backer for the purposes of unlocking backer-related goals. And again, committing to updates every 2 weeks means you will always know what's going on behind the scenes. You won't have months of just dead air where you don't know what's happening with the project, which again is a little disheartening if you're putting out money on a Kickstarter and you don't know where things are going. So thank you again to Sundersky Studios for sponsoring this video. Thank you for all of you for watching, and I will see you all next time.